Hare Krishna. So now we have come to the last shloka, shloka number 42 of chapter 10. So this shloka concludes this entire chapter. So let's see what Krishna is saying here in this shloka. Athava bahunaitena kim jnatena tavarjuna vishthabhyaham idam kritsnam ekamshena stito jagat. So here Krishna is saying that athava bahuna etena kim jnatena tava Arjuna. So he's saying, oh Arjuna, what need is there for all this detailed knowledge? And then he says, Vishthabhya aham idam kritsnam eka amshena stitah jagat. With one amsha, that is one single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire jagat, entire universe. So here, after describing all the opulences, now Krishna is summarizing, saying, what is need of all this knowledge? Just with one fragment of mine, I pervade this entire universe and I support this entire universe. Here actually we see how great the Lord is, how opulent the Lord is. Let's see some of the important points from the purport. The Supreme Lord is represented throughout the entire material universes by his entering into all things as the super soul. The Lord here tells Arjuna that there is no point in understanding how things exist in their separate opulence and grandeur. He should know that all things are existing due to Krishna's entering them as super soul. From Brahma, the most gigantic entity, on down to smallest ant, all are existing because the Lord has entered each and all and is sustaining them. Now, we have seen this concept of expansion of the Purusha avatars from Lord Sri Krishna. Now, so we made it very clear in one of the videos how from Krishna comes Balaram, from Balaram comes Adi Chaturvyuha expansion, and from Sankarshan, who is one of the Adi Chaturvyuha expansion, from there comes Narayan, and from Narayan comes Dvitiya Chaturvyuha expansion. One of them is Mahasankarshan. And from Mahasankarshan comes Mahavishnu, that is Karnodakshay Vishnu, from whose each and every pore of the body comes universes. So infinite universes come when Mahavishnu exhales. And then Mahavishnu himself, he expands and he enters each and every universe as Garbhodakshay Vishnu. And from Garbhodakshay Vishnu's navel sprouts a lotus flower on which Brahma appears, the secondary creator. Now when Brahma does various detailed creation in the entire universe, then Garbhodakshay Vishnu, he further expands and enters into each and every atom, and his name is Shirodakshay Vishnu, or the Paramatma feature of the Lord. So here we can understand, now wherever we are sitting, just imagine every single particle around, every single atom around has Shirodakshay Vishnu. This is a very, very important realization. Obviously, theoretically we might know, but we might have not realized this point. When the realization comes automatically, we'll be able to perceive the Lord in each and every atom around us, even in the body also. So this is a very nice thing that is mentioned here, that Lord expands himself and enters each and every atom, and because he is present in each and every atom, the entire world, the entire universe, the entire creation is sustaining, is getting maintained. And here it is said, and does Lord do any distinction between I should enter this body, not this body? So here it is said, he is there in Brahma's body also, who is the first living entity and gigantic living entity. And he also enters into ant, which is pretty small. Maybe he might be there in the one-celled body animal also. So in this way we understand the Lord does not make any distinction. He just enters each and every atom in this entire creation. Here it is said, there is a mission that regularly propounds that worship of any demigod will lead one to the Supreme Personality of Godhead or the supreme goal. But worship of the demigods is thoroughly discouraged herein because Even the greatest demigods like Brahma and Shiva represent only part of the opulence of the Supreme Lord. He is the origin of everyone born, and no one is greater than him. He is asama urdhva, which means that no one is superior to him and that no one is equal to him. So this is a very important point. Many times people say that you go through any path and you'll end up in the same destination. But this is not at all valid here. In logical terms also, in our day-to-day life, suppose we take a ticket to go to a station, go to a destination A. But then we want to go to destination B, but we have taken the ticket for destination A. Now tell me, when the person has taken the ticket for destination A, how will he go to destination B? Simple. In this world also we can make out. Then how is it possible that we choose any path on the path of transcendence and we reach the same destination? How is it that by worshipping any Devi Devta we'll attain Krishna? No, it's very logical, it's very clear. Why? Because all the Devi Devtas, even including the greatest of them, that is Brahma and Lord Shiva, they are just fragmental parts of Lord Krishna. They are not whole, they are not complete, they are not supreme. So obviously there will be a difference between worshipping the Supreme and worshipping the parts of Supreme. So when we worship the Supreme, we go to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that is Krishna Loka or Goloka Vrindavan. But when we worship the parts of Supreme, we'll go to their planets. Provided even that is done with proper vidhi purvakam, not just like whatever we want to do, whatever our mind says. So in this way we understand that only by worshipping Krishna, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, cause of all causes, origin of everything in this entire creation, a person can break the cycle of birth and death and go back home, back to Godhead. Otherwise it's not possible, impossible. No one else except Krishna can give liberation from the cycle of birth and death. Why? Because it's only Krishna who is free from the cycle of birth and death. Everyone else is bound in the cycle of birth and death. So in this way, a person who is free can free others also. So Krishna is that personality who can do this. Here it is said, in Padma Puran, it is said that one who considers the Supreme Lord Krishna in the same category with demigods, be they even Brahma or Shiva, becomes at once an atheist. If, however, one thoroughly studies different descriptions of the opulences and expansions of Krishna's energy, then one can understand without any doubt the position of Lord Sri Krishna and fix his mind in worship of Krishna without deviation. Now many times this point is made by common people, saying, the ones who don't have knowledge from Shastra, they say that everything is one. All Devi Devtas are same only. Now what is the difference? Padma Puran makes it very clear. The ones who places all the Devi Devtas along with Krishna on the same platform and considers them on the same platform, such a person is called as Pashandi or an atheistic person. Why? Because he is not understanding the difference between the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his subordinates. It's, for example, when we go to some company, some big firm, and then we say watchman, peon, employee, CEO, MD, everyone is same. So this is stupidity, this is foolishness. But then when a person gets the knowledge, saying, okay, watchman's job is this, he's a security guard, peon's job is this, employee's job is this, oh, CEO is this person, oh, MD is this person. So what happens when we get all these detailed knowledge? The person understands, he's able to differentiate. So people who have knowledge from Shastra, they understand Krishna as Supreme Personality of Godhead. But the ones who don't have knowledge from Shastra, the ones who get knowledge from TV, they will end up nowhere. Even when they're doing some day-to-day worship, but still they'll be considered as atheistic because they don't have proper knowledge to understand who is supreme and who is subordinate. And here it continues saying, if one thoroughly studies the different descriptions of the opulences and expansions of Krishna's energy, then one can understand without any doubt the position of Lord Sri Krishna and can fix his mind in the worship of Krishna without deviation. Now, when we go to a firm and then we understand, oh, he is the CEO of the company. Now, we understand more details, what are his job description and what are the different things that he does, how he is sustaining the entire firm, then automatically respect will come. Similarly, in this particular chapter, chapter number 10, and now in future chapters also, when we'll understand that what are the opulences of Krishna, how great this personality is, automatically that mood will come. Yes, I have to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I have to surrender onto his lotus feet and break the cycle of birth and death. This one-pointed devotional service is very, very important in a devotee's life. We cannot be multi-branched, deviated all the time. We have to be one-pointed. And with that one-point focus, we have to worship that one personality who is the origin and the cause of everything that exists. That is Lord Sri Krishna. And what happens when we are chased to worship of Lord Sri Krishna? What happens when we are chased to chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. What happens? We become intense, and at the time of death, that one pointed, focused devotional service to that one great personality, Lord Sri Krishna, will be revealed. At the time of death, we'll be able to remember Krishna, we'll be able to chant Krishna's holy name, and that is a proof that the person has gone back home, back to Godhead. So there is no point in worshipping multiple personalities. If you worship one personality, that is Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, everyone else becomes satisfied. And at the end of life, the person will be able to remember Krishna and go back home, back to Godhead. There's nothing wrong in worshipping Devi Devtas, because they're great personalities. But then our goal is not to get some material benefit in this world. Our goal is to break the cycle of birth and death and go back home, back to Godhead. And that will happen only if we worship Krishna and no one else. Here it is said that the Lord is all pervading by the expansion of his partial representation, the super soul who enters into everything that is. So this video we started with this description that how Krishna is there in each and every atom as Shirodakshaya Vishnu. Pure devotees therefore concentrate their minds in Krishna consciousness in full devotional service. Therefore, they are always situated in the transcendental position. Devotional service and worship of Krishna are very clearly indicated in this chapter in verses 8 to 11. That is the way of pure devotional service. How one can attain the highest devotional perfection of the association with the Supreme Personality of Godhead has been thoroughly explained in this chapter. So, what does pure devotees do? Pure devotees are the ones whose eyes are anointed with love. In Brahma Samhita it is said, Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena santah sadaiva hridayeshu vilokayantim yam shama sundaram achintya gunaswarupam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. So here Brahma is saying those great personalities whose eyes are anointed with the ointment of love, Anjana, Prema Anjana, such people are able to take darshan of Lord Sri Krishna all the time. Santa sadaiva hridayeshu vilokayanti. Sada, eternally, all the time they can take darshan of the Lord in their hearts. And wherever they see, they find only Krishna. In Chaitanya Charitamrita it is said, Sthavara jangama dekhe na dekhe tara murti sarvatra nija hoy ishta deva spurti. Sthavara jangama, animate or inanimate, whatever they see, the pure devotees see, the only thing that they can find or only thing that they can perceive is, my Krishna is here. So this is the level of pure devotees. So here it is very clearly said that we have to reach that state. And how can we reach that state? By doing pure devotional service or by practicing pure devotional service. And pure devotional service, it's very clear, it's pure, it's not contaminated, pure devotional service. One-pointed, focused devotional service to Lord Sri Krishna without any other desire than attaining Krishna this very lifetime. That is called as pure. And in this particular chapter, it's very clear that how pure devotees worship Krishna and how Krishna reciprocates with them. Especially in that Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita which we saw from shloka number 8 to 11 in this particular chapter. It was very clear how the devotees all the time they're engaged in service of Krishna, and how Krishna gives them intelligence at the right point of time so that they can go back to Godhead. And the special mercy of Krishna is he removes all the ignorance from the heart. How? Jnana Deepena Bhashvataha. By enlightening them, by revealing them, by lighting the lamp of knowledge in the heart, removes all the darkness, all the ignorance. So in this way, this particular chapter has actually given us a great insight on the opulences of Krishna, and also the mood of intense devotional service, of being one-pointed, focused devotee of Lord Sri Krishna. So with this verse, Krishna ends this particular chapter. Now let's try to understand the entire chapter at one go, all the 42 shlokas together in the next video. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,